Welcome, everyone. In this video, we'll break down the gayness of Jamal Bryant, and we'll expose why I say man-made religion has made a mockery of the God they say they represent. Allow us to dive in.
Everything right.
Oh man, and they lanolated.
Man, listen, I'm back working out.
You put shea butter, jerky.
Oh, you see that?
They glowing in the dark.
I'm just
Y'all zoom in. Do not skip leg day.
Don't do that.
Do not.
Listen.
So I'm gonna get right back into it, but this is Jamal Bryant, pastor, the one that was sitting, the smaller guy, complimenting Cam Newton on his legs. No man should ever compliment another man on his legs or anything else sexually that can be interpreted as a sexual type of comment. This is ridiculous. And this is supposed to be a pastor of a church. Again, religion, man-made religion, has made a mockery of the God that they say they represent. It is deplorable. Allow us to continue.
Corey and Craig have nice legs. Gotta be honest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Listen, man. You don't tell no man he got pretty legs.
Not as no man.
You don't tell no man he got pretty
You
legs.
don't tell no yeah.
So let me stop there. So
I'm going to fast forward a little bit because I don't really want to hear his commentary. But we'll get back into Corey Holcomb and explain why you don't tell a man, a woman can, but a man should never tell a man anything in a sexual manner about his legs, etc. That is just not acceptable. But again, Jamal Bryant is an individual that went and preached and apologized to a church. Now, get this, a church whose pastor is married to another man and called the man the first man of the church. You can't make this type of stuff up, man. Black people are at the lowest that we've ever been on many levels. And again, this homosexualization of the black male, of males in general, is explosive, and it is detrimental to any growth of any community, of any nation. Two men can never reproduce life. So the actual act of homosexuality, you have a right to be homosexual, cannot sustain itself if it was left on the earth as the only option of sexual engagement. That means that it is not natural, it is alternative, because the species could never survive with men being on an island. Take this example: men being on an island, all men, homosexual men, the men that are gender appropriating women by calling themselves transgender. That's not even a word. There's no such thing as a transgender person, etc. You are either male or female. You're either heterosexual male or a homosexual male or female, heterosexual male or female. All that other stuff is just made up terminology to try to justify some movement that cannot sustain itself. So let's take this example. If you used to if we had an island out in the middle of the ocean and they had everything they needed for survival except for women, it's all men. That island of human beings will cease to exist after close to 75 to 100 years, because there is no reproduction of life. There's no way they can reproduce life, and they have everything else that they need, but yet they don't have the woman in order to do and reproduce that which is necessary for the human species survival, and that is the reproduction of life. You need the male and you need the female. So any behavior sexually that cannot in and of itself reproduce life is an alternative behavior. It's a behavior that cannot sustain the species. Therefore, it is not a permanent or an essential behavior for the survival of the species. It is non-essential, meaning the species could survive if there were no homosexuals on the planet. And I'm not saying that you can't be homosexual. I'm talking about in the context of the survival of the species and in the context of what is natural and what is unnatural. We have taken that which is unnatural and tried to elevate it as being natural, and it is not. And these individuals are doing it in the name of their God, in the name of reading their Bible. And they've conflated all these things together, and now they accept the unacceptable when it comes to the survival of the species. And no, I'm not religious. And no, again, I know that all these books are written by the hands of men. But to represent yourself as being a representative of God, of the God of these religions, to the people who believe in these religions, is highly hypocritical when you are engaged in unnatural behavior that cannot survive and sustain the species in and of itself. Allow us to continue.
Is preaching next week in a church where the pastor is married to a man.
Oh no,
and calls his husband the first man of the church in Atlanta.
ain't no way, Mr. Bryant. That's wild. That's why. Yeah, that's
He said Cam got pretty legs, and I mean, we'll just put it out there. I'm gonna put it out there. This brother, in my opinion, does not represent what church is supposed to be about if you're going by the word of the Bible. His brother Bryant. See, you can't lie when you say somebody's name.
right.
His girl is put before the congregation, and she preaches with a BBL.
Oh, that's the guy. Now I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
we talking about the word. I'm not nobody who knows the Bible back and forth, but I know much. I know enough about the Bible to know that this is all foul behavior if you're preaching the Bible to people.
Now remember,
He hit it right on the head. I can agree with him 100%. Again, if you are preaching this book, if you're preaching the so-called word of God, if you're preaching the word that is written in the Bible, and you're engaging in homosexuality, you're engaging in all these alternative things that have come about as far as the sexuality movement, and you're pushing an agenda where you are actually condoning men marrying men in the church, and them men, one of the men being a pastor, you cannot preach the word of that book. And again, it is a man-written book. God, Jesus hadn't written not one word in any book on this planet. So it is what it is. And like I said, I don't follow suit as far as calling the Bible or any book or any religious book on this planet the word of God. These are the words of men. Could they have had inspiration from a higher source? Maybe, maybe not. But these are the words of men. And even though these are the words of men, there are concepts and precepts within that Bible that, if followed, would lead to a prosperous and a well-developed life and a well-developed society, well-developed nations. Many of what is preached in the Bible, many of those concepts and precepts and tenets that exist, but nowhere in the man-written book that you call the Bible, that you say is the word of God, does he condone this type of behavior. He, again, I'm referring to it from the religious aspect. The God doesn't condone this type of behavior, but yet the church has taken upon itself, especially the black church. They're doing it in white churches as well, especially the black church, to make itself as homosexual as possible. And again, I have no quarrels with you being homosexual. You have every right to do with your body what you want to do with your body. What I am saying is, it is not natural. It can never be natural. It cannot reproduce life. Female engaging, they can even engage in sex. They can engage in tickling each other, but that cannot produce life. A male and a male, they can penetrate each other. Unfortunately, it's disgusting, but You can do that, but you can never reproduce life like that. So that act of sexual engagement is an alternative act. It is an act that is non-essential to the survival of the species. And again, this is not saying that I have any issues with homosexuals having the ability to live life the way they want to live. That's their choice. I don't have to support it. I don't have to support you. I'm not going to go out my way to oppose you. I'm not going to allow it to intervene into my space, but I'm going to treat each human being with respect as long as they are treating me with respect. So that's regardless of your sexual orientation. But at the end of the day, we must come to realize that a lot of this stuff is made up. A lot of this stuff has no ground, no root in reality, in nature, in what is natural. And this causes issues down the line. And again, we put these individuals out in front of us as if they speak for Black people. They speak for a certain segment of Black people. Jamal Bryant is very vocal, always hollering about Trump, always hollering about the victimhood, always hollering about what has happened to us, etc. And then you promote this foolishness, and then you go on and then you start to sexualize Cam Newton. Legs, you are ridiculous, Jamal Bryant. It is what it is. If you like the commentary, guys, please like, subscribe, and hit that button. Comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. And again, you know I have a fitness channel. It's Monte's Fitness. I'll leave the link in the description on the fitness channel where we cover Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You have a workout that you can follow along with tools and tips on those days. Tuesdays and Thursdays, you have videos that cover insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, all the autoimmune diseases, panic attacks, depression, anxiety, mineral and vitamin deficiencies, hormonal levels, methylation, things that you need to know about methylation, the whole gamut of health, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual we cover on that channel. Again, have a beautiful day. Sending you peace and always love. Peace.